I'm Stephan. I'm the co-chair of the Westminster Partnership Board for People with Learning Disabilities.
And I'm Marian Harrington, Director of Adults and Community Services at Westminster City Council.
I'm here to ask Marian some questions about the new big plan of 2009 to 2012. The first question is, the Westminster Learning Disability big plan has now been launched. Do you think that we're doing things that people want us to do?
Well, I really do. I think we're making a big change in learning disability services, and it's not anymore about looking after people, but it's helping people to lead full and active lives. So we want people to keep as healthy as possible, to keep safe, and to be able to do the things that everybody else is able to do. And I think the big plan will help us to do that.
The second one is, what can you see in the future for people with learning disabilities, carers and adult services in Westminster?
In Westminster, we're trying to move to more and more people having something called an individual budget. So that's an amount of money that they've got that they can spend to buy the services that they want, instead of having the services that the council arranges for them. I think what will be important about that is that people will be able to buy support to be able to do the sorts of things that they want to do when they want to do them, but they will need the extra support. We'll have to make sure that we arrange extra support for people to be able to do that.
And the third question is, people with learning disabilities in Westminster say they want to have jobs, better housing and more activities all day. How will you and Westminster Council help to make this happen?
Perhaps if I break it down into the different bits. If we start with jobs, we've been doing quite well at helping people with learning disabilities get training, get volunteering opportunities and get work. But I think the credit crunch, so all that's going on in the economy at the moment, is not helping. There aren't so many jobs out there, and it's much harder to get jobs. So I think we'll continue to do our best, and perhaps the City Council and the local NHS could be leaders in still trying to make sure that we give opportunities to people with learning disabilities to work for us, that we could make sure that we find jobs for people, but also that we carry on with the training and the volunteering opportunities, so when there are more jobs around, people are ready for them. If we're thinking about better housing is really difficult in central London, but there are opportunities for people to look at shared ownership, buying their own home, and there are people in Westminster with learning disabilities that have been able to do that. So we just need to make sure that people are aware of all the choices that they can have about the housing opportunities, whether it's sharing with other people or having their own flat, or whether they actually don't want to stay living in central London and want to move elsewhere. We've got to make sure that people understand all the choices that there are for them. And with activities during the day and in the evening, I was saying before about individual budgets and being able to buy support to help you to be able to go out to things. I think the other thing is to look at trying to match people up with other people who are interested in doing the same sorts of things. So you've got somebody to go to, say, football matches with, because it's quite hard to go and do things on your own. But if we could try and do more to link people together who are interested in the same sorts of things, and then give them the support they need to be able to go off and do those things, I'm sure that would really make a difference to people. I suppose the other thing is that I'm now responsible for managing all the sports and leisure facilities within the city, so I need to make sure that that people with learning disabilities would feel comfortable using them, and that they're providing the sorts of activities that people with learning disabilities want. So what would help me is if people from the Learning Disability Partnership would help me by coming with me to look round the facilities and seeing what's there, and also by doing a bit of mystery shopping for me, so that you can tell me whether you think there are things we can do to make our sports and leisure centres better for people with learning disabilities.
Okay. Question 4 is, the big plan says that working in the partnership board with families is important. How will adult services be working better with families and carers?
Well, this is quite complicated because we've got to make sure that we help people with learning disabilities to live as independently as possible, but we've also got to recognise that their carers, their parents and brothers and sisters know them very well, and that they should have a say in helping us to arrange budgets and services for them. I think what we need to do is we need to start when people are quite young teenagers, planning with families the sorts of things that people might want to do, the sorts of places they might want to live, and just letting people know what sorts of opportunities there are out there, because times have changed quite a lot and people do live much more independently, and they do work and they do go to college, and sometimes families are not aware of all the opportunities that there are. I think we need to we need to try and reassure families that people will be safe, and I think that we do need to do more work with the police and with community protection to help people with learning disabilities feel safe when they're going out and about in the city on their own, because it is busy and it can be quite a scary place. So I think that's one thing that we really ought to do. I suppose the other thing is to make sure that we are listening to families and carers, and that we're making them feel that their views are being taken into account. And we haven't always got that right in the past, and I'd like to think we do that better in future. Okay.
Okay. The last question, question 5, is people with high support needs and people from black minorities, perhaps, ethnic groups need to be more included. How would you support these groups?
If I split it down into the two different people that you've talked about, people with high support needs, we have done quite a lot of work using video, using computer technology to help people with learning disabilities express preferences. And I'd just like to think that we were able to expand that so that we were allowing people to have a choice over as many areas of their life as possible. Already people help us to choose the staff that work with them. They help us to choose a whole range of things, but I do think that there is always more that we could do to help people to be able to express themselves when perhaps they don't have speech, for example. Families from different ethnic groups, I think we probably need to reach out more into the community, using community workers, using voluntary organisations that work with different groups, and using different religious organisations to try and get to people in a different way, and help them again to see what the possibilities are for their whole family, rather than thinking that they might be quite limited, and that perhaps people with learning disabilities always have to stay living with their family, when that might not be what they want to do. They might want to live more independently.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
Well, thank you for spending the time with me.
Yeah, thank you.